And Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs in Budapest. Welcome. We can now the lesson, please.
Grazie. So, ladies and gentlemen, buongiorno. Mi chiamo Agnes Komari, and that's all I know in Italy. So, I work in Hungary. There. It's okay. So, I work in Hungary in the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, and I'm a PhD student at the Dott.ssa University. This is the oldest university in Hungary and the #1 university. I studied law and now I teach agricultural law at our university. And my PhD theme is the legal regulation of the gene technology and the coexistence. At the ministry, I'm a quality expert and I travel on geographical indications, so video and VGI and CSG. But now I will speak about the Hungarian regulation, about the coexistence regulation. It's very important that I would like to speak just about the facts. So just about the regulation and not about the opinion of the ministry. It's very important always to say it because the coexistence and this regulation is a very interesting and confusing problem. If you don't understand something, or if I rush, because I am quite anxious and sometimes I can rush, then don't hesitate to ask and don't hesitate to interrupt me. So, let's see our interesting regulation. I would like to start with the evolution of the Hungarian GMO regulation. Our first act was the 1996 Act. We made a framework act in 1996 and it was about the natural conservation. So it's not about the gene technology, just there's some sentences about the GMOs and about the regulation. And in 1998 is the year when the Hungarian Gene Technology Act was born. This act was amended several times. The most important was the first in 2002. Then was transposed the this EU directive, maybe you know this EU directive. And the second amended happened in 2006 because we made a chapter about the coexistence. In this coexistence regulation we can find the general rules, but the special rules we can read in a decree, and this decree was born in 2006, so it's a quite new decree, and in the ministry we have to work on this decree a lot because it's still not ready, but we try to do it always best and best. But we are lucky because now in Hungary there's a moratorium, so it's prohibited to grow and to sell GMOs, so that's why we can work on our regulations. Let's go on. I would like to start with some definitions, because I know that you know about these definitions, but repetitio est mater studiorum, you know. So I start my lectures always with these definitions, because I say that if you don't understand these definitions, this is the ground, then we can't understand the regulation, the Hungarian regulation and the regulation in the European Union. So what does it mean? What is the GMO, or a genetically modified organism? You can read it on the Wikipedia, because our best friend is nowadays the internet, and you can find here a lot of information, but of course a lot of false information too. So what is a genetically modified organism? It's an organism where the genetic material has been altered, very important, using genetic engineering techniques. So we know as a recombinant DNA technology, and the DNA molecules will be altered. So we can speak about transgenic or cisgenic organisms, but I don't want to speak about too much because it's not a biological study. What's the GMO? In the EU directive, I hope that you know this EU directive. So it says that it means an organism, with the exception of human beings, in which the genetic material has been altered in a way that doesn't occur naturally by mating and or natural recombination. And the Hungarian Act says a bit more about it. What is the gene technology modification? Quite a long definition. So it means a procedure in conformity to the provision contained in a separate legal prescription, during which a gene or any part thereof is removed from a cell. So this is the main point, removed from a cell, to be transplanted into another cell, or synthetic genes or gene sections are introduced in a natural organism, by which the genome or receiver shall be modified. So the Hungarian definition is very big. Sometimes we feel so that it's a bit confused, but this is our definition. And what does it mean? Transgenic plant is what about we speak if we say that something is transgenic. We know three generations, the first, second, and the third transgenic generation. The first generation benefits the farmer, and the second benefits the consumer. And nowadays we know the first generation, and they possess several desirable traits. For example, resistance to pests and herbicides, or resistance to harsh environmental conditions, or they have better nutritional values, etc., etc. So if we speak about transgenic plants, then we can say that this is the future, and we need a very good regulation because it's a dangerous system and it's a dangerous future. So I've just finished the definition, and I can speak about the Hungarian regulation. When I speak about the Hungarian regulation, I have to start with the buffer zone. What does it mean, the buffer zone? This is the safety distance. So we don't use it in Hungary. We say always that safety distance, but the name is in the app, the buffer zone, and it separates the traditional, the organic, the environmental, and the GM crops. So you can see, you can read this confusing definition, but the main point is that it separates. This buffer zone separates the crops. And the buffer zone is in Hungary very big. We can say that in the European Union, one of the biggest, because it is about 400 meters. It can be doubled. For example, if there are problems with the neighbors, but the ground is 400 meters. But it's just for the corn, for the beety corn. It's planned for sugar beet and potato. It will be just 100 meters. Originally, Hungary wanted not 400 meters, and a bit more. Originally, Hungary wanted 1,600 meters, but of course it was too much. So the second circle, it was already just 800 meters. But in Brussels, the Brussels said that no, it won't be. Okay, so that's why now in Hungary this is 400 meters. But we have other rules too. This is the consent. The consent of the actual user neighbor and the consent of the neighbor landowner, because if someone would like to grow GMO, GM maize, then the grower